nothing that we did worked, guys. So I think at this point, maybe God is there for us, right? And I'm saying this for those of you that are questioning this. Give me one example in your life where things worked worked your way. My name is Jeremy. I'm a child of God and an overcomer, but you already know that. I have a very special guest today. This is Chris Schumacher. What else do you go by, Chris?
Hephzibah.
Can you tell the viewers what Hephzibah means?
That means the Lord takes delight in me.
We'll do a study at some point in the future. Chris will do the study, and we'll have him back, and we'll talk about Hephzibah. But this week, we are talking about step 2. I did a video previously where we went through some Celebrate Recovery material. I showed you this book, and we were going through step 1, and Celebrate Recovery does a 24-week program. So here's what we're going to do. My church and the community that I'm a part of is going to start a new cycle of our material starting January 1st. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to go through the 12 steps up through January 21st or January 1st, and then we will reconnect and we will launch kind of a new series where we will be hanging out on, there's 12 steps in 12 months. So we'll be focusing each month for a step. And so that's what we're going to do. But this week we're starting with step 2, and we have Chris on today. I want to start by reading step 2, and I probably should have just had it all ready to go, but I was flipping through the book. And
we came to believe that there was a power greater than ourselves that could restore us to sanity.
Look at that. So while I have Chris on today, and actually I think we're probably going to see a lot more of Chris and a lot of other friends. We have a large recovery community here in Douglas County in Oregon. And so we're at no shortage of transformations and stories. And so we're glad to have Chris on the show. What I want to talk today about is step 2. And in early recovery, we've got step 1, and then we're coming into step 2. A lot of people don't have a problem finally admitting, I have a problem. But step 2 is a little scary for some people because a lot of us, me included, I come from an atheist background, right? I was strong denial of God, and there was a level of brokenness that I had experienced, which got me to face my denial, but I wasn't ready to receive God necessarily yet. And so what I want to start with is first tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are, and then maybe from there we'll talk about how God has maybe intervened in your life.
Okay, well, I've just about got 2 years. I'm like 4 days shy of 2 years clean today, and how I got here is really being such a bullheaded guy that I am, and all that, the nudge from the judge. I got myself into some trouble and was looking at 3 years of prison, and it was either do this program that was offered to me called drug court. Very blessed to have gone through that program. I can't say enough about that, but that's how I got started, is being required to attend some recovery meetings. And at the same time, I had this guy that we both know really well, Dave Graman, who come up to me at my first court appearance for drug court and asked to have coffee. So at the same time, I had an opportunity to get involved in recovery and start hanging out with some church people. So that's where I got started.
Awesome. So my recovery started 10 years ago. I initially went into AA. In fact, I had to go to AA because I'm from another city and I moved to the town my mom lived in, and she opened up her home. I'd pretty much lost everything, and I needed to kind of recollect my life. She said, maybe you should spend the summer with us. But my stepfather, and I really appreciate him doing this, but he said, if you're going to be living here, you're going to go to AA. And so I went, and it wasn't like a forced thing. It was like I had to go, but I didn't treat it that way. So I really got a little humble, but when they started talking about God, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to just tune this stuff out. But the Lord did something in me. There's so much I could talk about, but ultimately I was going to AA, and I had, within about 6 to 7 months of being regular part of that fellowship, I had an encounter from God. Spiritual awakening. Literally, the Bill W. spiritual awakening in a moment, clarity. It was like I had different eyes. I was looking through a different body. I had new eyes looking through the eyes that I had anyway. And so the whole came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity wasn't something that I did the step 2. I didn't do step 2. It was like it happened to me, right? And then from there, I was able to kind of look through all the steps. And I think sometimes the recovery programs can get what I would just say kind of religious and rigorous, and you got to go 1 through whatever. But my experience is that the elements of the 12 steps, really the first 9, because step 10, 11, and 12 are more maintenance steps, but the fundamentals of 1 through 9, I think, had all been accomplished and kind of culminated into my having that awakening, right? And so do you have any do you have any comments or anything you want to say to maybe people that are brand new to recovery, and based on kind of our own experiences, like I just told you, I had a sovereignty of God experience. Do you have anything you want to share with viewers that can help build their perception of what to maybe expect as long as they keep showing up?
Well, all I can say is, speaking for myself, just continue to show up, even if you don't feel like something's happening, because it's such a slow process that you can't see it. Sometimes people have a big spiritual awakening, something majorly happens, and that's cool. But for myself, it was such a gradual, slow process that I couldn't see until I got so far, and then I turned around and looked where I came from and where my life was at that time. So then I could see the difference, and that was my spiritual awakening. Like, wow, there's something to this, and just continued to do the next right thing. And for myself, I couldn't get past 68 days clean. All since I was 12 years old to the age of 42, I couldn't stay off substances for more than 68 days, and that was because I was in an inpatient treatment facility. So there's something to this, sticking with it, and just having faith in recovery, and I'm clean almost 2 years, so
Woo.
There's proof
Yeah.
in the pudding.
That's good stuff, man. I remember, so the common saying or the adage or whatever goes, hindsight is 20/20. And we all know that, because I look back and I'm living some fruit that I just didn't even think was ever going to happen in my life, right? But all of us that are living in that space, we go back, we remember, I was not going to get this thing, right? And so I want to, for those viewers that are new and you've come across this channel and you've maybe attended a meeting or two, I guess at this point I would want to say enjoy those moments, because I think there's a lot of times where we get in a hurry and we want that next thing. So I remember being in AA meetings, and there was a guy there that was really successful, and he had this job where he was traveling to like San Francisco, and I thought, that's awesome. And he had like 15 years of sobriety, right? And I had like 20 days. And I wanted to get there. I'm hearing about all these stories of transformations. The kind of commonality in these is that all of these people had like extensive amounts of time. And so there's a lot of times where I think that I could have really just enjoyed my recovery more, especially the early parts, and just reflected a little bit more on my progress. At the same time, I think it's healthy to have a little bit of dreaming. Did you have any? Does that make sense to you or anything? Or
Of course, man, it's crazy where I'm at now versus 2 years ago. But of course, I came in and I was broken. I didn't have a whole lot of hope, but I knew I needed to do something different. And in order to do something different, you have to continue doing something different. You can't just be one way 1 minute and then go back to your old ways. That's not doing anything different. So you have to give it a chance, time. And that's why, you see people that are successful after 15 years of sobriety. But for myself, I could barely maintain a job in my addiction. Now I'm hireable. I'm actually starting my own business. I have a lot of gifts of being in recovery and having a lot of faith in my God. All things are possible with God in your life, and that's the truth. There's so many things that I've learned. I can't put it all out there in words in just one session. So you will definitely be seeing more of me because I've got a lot to say.
Yeah, come on.
I wear this because that's what I am today. I'm a hope dealer, not a dope dealer. And we all need some hope. And that's about all I can say on that.
That's awesome, man. I don't think, well, not just I don't think, I know that this whole thing called recovery and this redemption that has occurred in my life isn't even possible without step 2 and 3. We're not to step 3 yet, but the point is that God is the only thing, the only way. Now, I would subscribe, and I know my friend Chris subscribes to Christ, and you've heard me say it on this show before, that Christ is the way and the only way. However, I have enough peace and enough confidence that I'm not going to force anything. And if you have a God of your understanding that's different, I want this channel still to be something that you can receive from. But I have a hope and a belief and a peace that I believe that Christ will reach into your life. And there's a lot of things that we're going to cover as we move forward in the channel. And so I guess I'll turn it over to Chris in a second to talk a little bit about this idea of God, because I think it hangs people up. I think a lot of people will come into recovery and they'll just say, I want to get sober, but I don't want anything to do with God. And I know some people it's because of maybe past hurts from church or things like that. But let's say we're just talking to somebody who just doesn't, maybe they don't know God, or they just don't want to know God, or they have maybe some beliefs about science or something that say that God's not there. Well, I'm going to tell you, this thing, recovery, just doesn't work without that. Is there anything you can share to maybe encourage somebody or point them into even the possibility of there being a God? Maybe after what you say, you're not trying to dictate to them God, but is there something that you can say to point them and to give them hope, maybe, is a better way to say that?
This is a touchy subject, and I don't want to say the wrong thing, but for myself, how I knew that there was God and angels and all the spirit realm, the things that we can't see. And as we get into our faith, we learn how to start to discern things and see things from above and not of this world. It's crazy. It's a touchy subject, but when I was in my addiction, and it wasn't necessarily just an evil time. Like I was just in my addiction and, living my life, going to work, trying to maintain a job, keep things together, run a family, buy a house, just keep life going. And I seen some things that I couldn't explain, that weren't necessarily positive. I don't want to freak anybody out, but I had an encounter one time with, while I was intoxicated, of what I call an evil spirit. And it wasn't a hallucination. It was something that I was having a hard time wrapping my mind around, but I saw what I saw. And from that point on, I knew that if there's bad, there's good. And that was like an encounter that God was showing me that I needed for myself to wrap my mind around the fact that there is a God and one who loves me and wants the best for me. But there's also the devil who wants to come and kill, steal, and destroy. And you can't have one without the other. So right there, I knew that if there's bad, there's good. So I just, the last 2 years, 2 years ago, that's when I decided that, all right, I know that there's bad, so I know there's good, and I'm going after the good. I want to see some things that these people in church are talking about. One thing that I hold on to lately, a revelation that I'm getting from all my spiritual fathers, is I'm done with religion. It's only Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't need to confuse things with the laws, the 613 laws and the 10 commandments. It's just about a right relationship.
Yeah.
A relationship with Jesus, and he's my best friend. And that's how I've kind of molded myself into believing in my higher power. And I've definitely had some blessings and some proof that he's working in my life. I'm here today.
Yeah, that's good. I think, as I was listening to you, Chris, I remember kind of in early recovery, nothing that we did worked, guys. So I think at this point, maybe God is there for us, right? And I'm saying this for those of you that are questioning this. Give me one example in your life where things worked worked your way. So this is an encouragement. Step 2, just really, you can even see it as we're trying to talk. It's like from somebody who knows God now, and I have a relationship, to try to talk to people and tell people that don't have that right now, and it's almost nearly impossible. But I think that it shows in our lives. We know in our community here at the place that we're at, it's clear that God's working in everybody's lives. So I just want this to be an encouragement. I don't want it to be a discouragement. If God is not something that's a part of your life right now, this is still the channel for you. I still want to invite you to come in and be a part of what we're doing. There's so much great content that we're going to be coming with forward. I want to thank Chris for coming on, and he'll be back. I have a lot of other people that are going to be back on. We have a lot of plans in the future for the channel. Right now, we just want to get through the 12 steps up until about January, and then we're going to launch kind of a year-wide program. So anyway, here's what we do on the channel. Many are called, but you are positioned. All right, see you guys later.